This episode is brought to you by Autofi.
Our mission statement is for years now making online automotive better. And that's not only about leads, but just helping dealers to get a better online presence one way or the other. And that is to bring good people to our events, good speakers like you, to actually help them on the whole broader thing about online automotive. And that's our thing, making online automotive better.
Hey, welcome to this episode of the Dealer Playbook Podcast. Sitting down with my friend, my good friend, Paul de Vries. We're going to be talking about lead handling and how the best marketing in the world will not compensate for broken in-store processes. Stay tuned. Paul, it feels like I just saw you a week ago.
It was 2 weeks ago, yes. And we had a fun time in Antwerp and in Amsterdam, right?
A lot of fun, a lot of rain, a lot of patat.
Yeah.
And it was the time of my life. Thank you for inviting me to come in and share time with the dealers and the OEMs out there.
Of course, you're welcome.
What's that?
You are welcome, and it was fun to have you. And we never experienced this kind of engagement, especially online on LinkedIn for sure. We had over 100,000 views in 1 week on the different updates. So that's for us on LinkedIn very, very good. And I remember our first interview podcast on the Dealer Playbook that I was saying that LinkedIn was for us the most important social media channel. And it is still in the automotive business, but it took off immensely.
You know, every time I think, should I continue on LinkedIn, I see your face in my head telling me I'm stupid if I don't post on LinkedIn regularly, because you are one of the most consistent. And by the way, I would say, and this isn't what I want to talk to you about, but a kind of a side note here for those that are dealership adjacent vendors, service providers. If you're not using LinkedIn, I mean, you just follow Paul. You should see what Paul has built. And I mean this sincerely. When Paul walks into a room, people, it's almost like, and I'm not kidding you, it's almost like a king walks into the room. No. People turn their heads. Some people stand up because they're waiting to get a greeting. And part of that is a testament to the personal brand that you've built, the expertise that you've built.
Through they just know me in the Netherlands, of course.
Well, yeah, you are, yeah, but you don't even, you are the who's who of your ecosystem.
Yeah, but that's something which I never thought was possible. It was never a business thing, a business idea or whatever. I just wrote my first article 15 years ago because I was mad about the politics, about the lobby, about taxation on cars. And that article went very, very good. And it was easy to write. Then the next week I did it again. And now 15 years later, I'm very consistent what you're saying. Every Thursday, I'm writing an article, no matter what.
In fact, I got to see some of the behind the scenes because you had put on 2 days of events. Your team and you did a phenomenal job putting these events together. It was well structured, well attended. I mean, full house 2 days in a row, 2 different countries, 2 days in a row. And then we're sitting at dinner, kind of, you know, what always happens on the tail end of an event, which is kind of the, and then halfway through dinner on a Wednesday evening, you looked up and you said, I need to write my article for tomorrow.
Actually, Bernice, our marketing and office manager, was saying, I didn't receive your article yet, and she making visuals. We just did 2 events, but she was right. The article was publicized the first day about the topic we are going to talk about today, actually.
Yeah. Last thing I want to butter you up with that impresses me, which is why I feel, you know, even though we go through moments where we don't talk a lot because we're both doing our thing, and then we come together and it's like we never stop talking. we talked about how like you find your people in the industry, you find kind of your community of people, and that circle starts to get smaller and smaller. One of the things I appreciated so much was a good reminder being in Europe about small hospitality.
Mhm.
Like I got to tell the DPB audience this. So we're at dinner. We're about an hour outside of Amsterdam, and he's about an hour from home, and concerned that if he doesn't drive us to our hotel in Amsterdam, that he's not being a good host. And we assured him, like Americans who have to be chill about it, we're like, no, go home. So you go home, and then you send me, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, you send me a picture that you made it back to your hometown in time to get to a rugby practice or a soccer football. And I'm like, nah, see, good dads. This is what the dealer playbook. I just find we've built a community with the dealer playbook of individuals who say, yes, hustle and grind and build, but also be good people, do the right thing, care about others, be a good host. And to me, that I think that's one of the things that's kept me doing the show for as long as I have, is seeing more and more people like that come out and say, man, I really appreciated just the human approach. Like, here you are, a master operator building a juggernaut business, but not giving up on your family, still entertaining your wife, standing in the middle of the shop with a big winter coat, eating all the cookies. And and so I just appreciate it. And I want you to know how much I appreciate seeing that and knowing there's other good, vigilant men in our industry who are being good role models. So,
But it's like looking in a mirror, right?
well, if you're looking down at the mirror,
No, it's like and you are the same, and some things are more important than other things.
yeah,
On the other hand, I felt and guilty that I didn't bring you to the
no,
hotel, but that's just me or hospitality, what it should be, and yeah, that's how we have to do it, right? I,
yep,
we,
absolutely,
because when I'm in America, I'm always getting, if this Brian or you or David or somebody else, they all take care, good, good care of me. So
okay. One last thing before we get into the actual topic, because I think this is relevant for everyone listening or watching. Years ago, I remember as you were building your businesses and your personal brand, and I remember this on several occasions, you would say, my goal is to be the of the Netherlands. Like, you had name references. I want that person of this market. At some point, though, like, have you realized, though, that you don't need to be that person of the market? Like, you've become you of that market, and it's the you. Like, tell me about getting the clarity about your personal brand, that like, I don't need to be them of this market, I need to be me of this market.
sure. So one of the goals was to be the Brian Pesh and the David Kane of the Netherlands and Belgium, right?
Right.
Because Brian is a good friend of mine, one of my best friends actually, and David Kane is more like me in the content wise about lead handling, etc. Uh,
Sure.
on the other end, you develop like you developed, and now our mission statement is for years now making online automotive better. And that's not only about leads, but just helping dealers to get a better online presence one way or the other. And that is to bring good people to our events, good speakers like you, to actually help them on the whole broader thing about online automotive. And that's our thing, online automotive, making online automotive better. So not only about lead handling, of only about marketing, of only about Google Analytics, just a broader perspective.
How do you get comfortable? Like, I know in today's world with social media and all these things, so many people get so stuck on being that person that they never accept that that they never accept that who they are and who they're working to be for themselves is enough.
Yeah, but it was never a business idea to be an authority in the market or whatever, right? It was known that it just happened. And that's an easy one to work with. Then you make a business plan. I want to be the authority in that market space for this, and then you are want to do that, and then you are failing one way or the other, or it takes way longer than you think.
Right.
And the real you should be also the one you portrayed on LinkedIn, for example.
Right.
So
Authenticity.
yeah, so I shared my Monday morning video. I do a Monday morning video all for years now to start a week off. And I told a story about a conversation I had at the dealership on the Saturday, and then you see that real stories makes a difference. And I wanted to share you that story in short because it's a very awesome and story. So we are setting microcars, and microcars are for the elderly people or for the youth. The youth with the age under 18, from 16 to 18, and the elderly people from 75 years old. Why? Because in the Netherlands, if you are 75 years old, you are getting to the doctor and you're getting a 5-year pass to drive the car still. And every
Right.
5 years, you have to go to the doctor and they will say you are fit enough, you're mentally enough to drive the car. That is something we do here. So, an old guy came to the dealership and he was talking about, I have to think about the future. And maybe it is now the time to let go of the car and go in a micro car because my license will expel in 6 months. I said to him, that's good because a lot of people from your age are doing the same. He said, I doubt that. I said, how do you mean? He said, how old do you think I am? And he is 99 years old and
Whoa.
thinking about the future. So he was saying, I have to think about the future. And I thought to myself, I have to sell him very fast.
Oh, that's awesome. How long does it, in Canada, in America, we're always talking about how to speed up the car deal. And I'm not going to lie, I've been down here now almost 4 years. We've purchased several vehicles since being here. There, usually the deal happens so fast in America that somewhere around 2 weeks later, I look at my wife, I look at Kara and I say, how are we paying for this thing? Because they didn't take pay in Canada. You cannot leave the dealership without a void check, so they know where the money's coming from. You get the registration, the insurance. Like it's a 4 to 7 hour ordeal, no matter what. Sometimes you have to wait for the insurance agent to come to the store.
Yeah.
You have to wait for the. Is it similar in the Netherlands? Is it a lengthy process to get somebody approved for a vehicle, or can it happen pretty quick?
No, it's there are two different transactions. So buying the car can be very fast. Then you buy the car, you sign the car, and that's it. And if you want to finance the car, the dealer can provide you with a lender. But it is illegal to sell financing with the car because that's something you need a permit for.
Oh, interesting.
You are submitting a lead for a lender, and the lender is going to call the customer, and that can be 5 minutes, that can be days, that they are going back and forth about some papers, about salary, etc. But it's behind you, and then after one day or 4 days, you are getting the clear, and then the contracts are made up, but you have to make the car pretty or whatever. So it will take some days to deliver the car. So
It's
buying
like buying a house.
is very fast, and
Yeah.
to deliver the car, you make an appointment. You are getting the car in 7 days.
It's like buying a house.
Yeah,
So
but way more less stressful than buying a car in America or in Canada, because if you I cannot see the experience very good if you have to stay there for 7 hours. And people,
no, yeah,
on the other hand, in the Netherlands, don't want to think the salesperson don't think that they don't have the money. So they finance the car in front. They already have the cash. They know they are approved. Somewhere they only need to buy the car.
got it. Okay, interesting. So that's why then this is where I want to pick up where we left off. So a year ago, we're on the toes of NADA. We spoke at NADA last year. And I asked you about AI in particular, whether or not you saw it replacing some of the human element. And I know a lot of what you have built is about speeding up
Yeah.
the response time and getting the engagement going. And that's why I was curious. That makes sense to me now, because by the time somebody submits a lead where you are,
Uh-huh.
they like you need to contact them because they're ready to buy, or else they're not submitting a lead. They already have financing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I want to ask you this: since last year when I asked you about AI, has anything changed? And if so, what's changing? What are you thinking about now as far as AI replacing some of the human elements, or have we gotten to a place with AI that it's feasible that it can take over some of the workflow?
Sure, sure. No, so one of our goals is to make online first, offline second. So we want to build the digital dealership first. So when you see our website, we actually have a website which is a copy of the Tesla website, the CarMax website, and the Carvana website, all
Mm-hmm.
together in our website. And you can actually buy the car there online. You can lease the car online there. You can submit a lead. You can ask for a trade in, whatever the case will be. At the end, you need to talk to a salesperson. So if somebody's submitting a lead, then in 30 seconds, we will calling the consumer by the called the RIP system. If the customer is not answering the phone call, the AI will detect there's no connection made and will make another call automatically to the salesperson in 4 minutes. So in the first minute we are calling, we detect no connection, and then in 4 minutes we try again with a different outgoing number.
Mm.
Same time, we are sending in WhatsApp, so not a text, but a WhatsApp and an email. If the consumer is reacting on those three things before the 4 minutes, so responding to that first call to the WhatsApp or the email, then it will stop, because then the primary communication channel is an email or WhatsApp. Then we are going from there. If that is not happening, we are calling for the second time in 4 minutes. Then the AI will detect no connection, and then it will go to our backup BDC. Our backup BDC is getting 6 times a phone call in 3 days when there is a used car involved on different occasions, and they only have to answer the phone. But every day, the AI will send out a WhatsApp, will send out an email, regardless whatever happens. If at the fifth attempt, for example, the BDC is connecting with the consumer and they are having a connection, a real conversation, and they are making an appointment, the BDC agent doesn't have to do anything. The AI will detect the conversation, will detect there is an appointment made, and will make the appointment set in the lead management system. Send out a WhatsApp to the consumer, will send out an email to the consumer, and will have a task for the salesperson. Hey, you have an appointment next Monday at 3 o'clock with this person. So the salesperson doesn't have to do anything, or the BDC agent doesn't have to be anything. So every phone call or every WhatsApp is connected with the AI, sometimes to do the heavy lifting and sometimes to be the virtual assistant. I can do the job which normally takes 3 people for 1 people if I connect the dots on the right level.
Hey gang, before we hop back into this episode, I want to tell you about my friends over at Autofi. Selling a car is time consuming and full of friction. I mean, don't we all know it? On a busy Saturday, there's typically a bottleneck at the desk, and it can take over 15 minutes to get a first pencil. We all know the customer's buying temperature is at its peak after the test drive, and making them wait causes them to psychologically talk themselves out of the deal. Selling a car shouldn't be so hard. Autofi's showroom solution connects the entire point of sale, including payment calculation, pre-qualification, desking, credit app, lender routing, and F&I menu, like literally the whole thing all in one, enabling your sales team to immediately present numbers to customers and close deals faster, all with management guardrails to eliminate mistakes and protect profit. Autofi will be at NADA 2025 in New Orleans, or is it New Orleans? Visit them at booth 4219 to check out their digital, retail, and showroom solutions. And of course, you can learn more about Autofi right now by going to autofi.com/dealer playbook. Oh, pretty please, I would love it. And for now, let's hop back into this episode. And you had to, because this didn't exist before you built it, right?
No.
So you had to connect all these pieces together. Where do you even start? Right? I know there's a lot of people that have been curious about this, but to sit here and go, okay, so I have Chat GPT and I have Call Drip and I have email. I mean, there's got to be, is there a developer involved? Is there a technology?
Hire 50% of your sales force and they really figure it out. That's what happened.
So that's where that's the pickup from last year. Will AI replace some humans? And it replaced 50% of the workforce.
So
the sales force.
If you are down one person from 2 persons to 1 person,
yeah,
you don't want to have another person in the shop again. And you want to automate something, then you are thinking about what can I automate. The one thing I think is very important, if the client engaged, so pick up the phone or engage in the WhatsApp, engage in the email, then the salesperson has to be awake. So my salesperson doesn't have to go for the third attempt, the fourth attempt, the fifth attempt, or the third WhatsApp, or the sixth email, or whatever. But if the consumer is reacting back, then he needs to be awake. So the AI is doing the heavy lifting, but if the client responds back, then I need a salesperson to be there, a real salesperson, because the AI is very good. We have very good AI now, very good templates, very good instructions, but a good trained salesperson is always better. But I have to make that organization that he is in his force to follow up a new lead or a responding lead and not heavy lifting.
Yeah. You've removed them where they're not needed so that they can focus their energy and develop themselves where they will be needed most. How do you, I mean, obviously then it means that salesperson also needs to be very trained on how the technology is working so they understand where they're picking up. No,
it's because we made it that just a phone call is ringing. When he picks up the phone, then he have a conversation. Then he has a conversation. I train him on the conversation to be held, how to sell an appointment, how to overcome objections. But if he does a good conversation, the AI, the virtual assistants in this case, will make the summary, will make the appointment, will make the task automatically. because there the salesperson is very worse. So there it is in virtual assistance, and over here by following up the leads which are not responding, there I have the heavy lifting. So I use them both ways.
What have you noticed in the time since you've incorporated this new ecosystem, this new tech stack?
Yeah.
What has it done to the numbers by way of, have you seen your engagement rate go up or appointment rate go up? What are you noticing?
The engagement rate, no, because if we are really honest, you can actually stop after the fifth call.
Right.
If somebody's not responding, they are not responding. But I want to collect complaints that people are saying, don't call me ever again if they pick up the phone. That's one of the goals, honestly. Um, the one thing which is improving that we are selling the same kind of cars, the same number of cars with one man down. That's one of the benefits. But the engagement by the salesperson to the lead when they are engaged is faster. So, for example, we have a lead follow up in 1 minute for a new lead, but it should also be 1 minute if the client responds back by email or WhatsApp. And that was lacking, and that we have now under control. And if they are engaged in WhatsApp conversation, for example, or in your case, in a text conversation, you don't let them go anymore. You have to stay in that conversation no matter what. You cannot hold for 30 minutes because they
Right.
are doing the groceries or walking the dog or something else, and
Right.
are not engaged anymore. So that's what we improved.
Interesting. The you had mentioned, I can't remember how long you said, but the average response rate without this system. Do you remember you said it was like
We did a business case in 2018 with one of the OEMs in the Netherlands.
yeah.
So the European headquarter asked for 2 hours. It was actually 8 hours and 20 minutes. And the average response time now is 2 minutes and 30 seconds for years. So they're now on 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But we didn't go to Germany, but in Germany, 50% of the leads, that was a survey of mobile.de, the biggest third-party website in Germany. 50% of the leads are not respond at all. Not a response at all. So the German market, like many big markets in Europe, are way behind the Dutch market, the UK market, and the Nordic markets.
Interesting. And is it the same there where they're coming with cash ready to go, like they've already been approved for a vehicle, so they just need to buy it?
I don't know for sure what that is in the Nordics or in Germany, but in Germany they think when the customer is interested, they have to show up.
Yeah, it's on you. You want the car, you should come. So I'm thinking about this.
What's to be?
What's the biggest difference then? I mean, you've now been to many American conferences. You've spoken at them. What's the reaction with American dealers when they hear what you're saying, that you can get a less than 5-minute response time on leads?
That they believe, but the one thing which always struck my mind is when you have a lot of something, you are lazy. So, for example, the American engine in a pickup truck makes no sense whatsoever. 7 liter or whatever, and then the horsepower is only 300. And there are also engines with 300 horsepower with a 2-liter engine, right?
Right.
That engine is just better. So if you have a lot of something like you have with data, with
Yeah.
customer data, and you can market that data to a market and go for the F-150 drivers, etc., you are getting lazy because it is very simple to get good leads. But if you have privacy laws like we have here, you have to be very innovated to get those leads still in and to get those conversations still happening in the dealership. So I think at the moment the European market, on that sense, on marketing, on vendors which do auto chat, for example, or something else, are way more innovative because there's scarcity. They have to do it with less than the American counterparts. We can learn about just sales and marketing techniques, but from an innovative perspective,
Right.
you guys are paying too much for too less.
So this is, I mean, this goes back to that what's that quote where it's like tough times create tough men create easy times create weak men.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when you're speaking. This ability to say, well, we only have this much to work with, therefore we have to innovate. That's the only way to do it. What always frustrates me, especially in North American markets, is you go to a small town population 8,000,
Mhm.
they're getting 1,000 leads a month, which means and not engaging with 30% of them every month,
Mhm.
which means that by month 11 they've basically burned the entire population of their community in leads.
Yeah.
And the only answer to it is to keep spending more. And despite having so much data,
Yeah.
it still doesn't seem to be helping us at all. And then here you are, you've been forced to innovate, and as a result, you actually have come out of it with better data.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, for sure. And I don't feel overwhelmed when I'm in America because you are way ahead. Actually, I don't see it anymore. 10 years ago,
Mm.
I was overwhelmed. I wrote notes and notes and notes and notes and notes about things, and now I said it's almost the same old and same stuff. And you're not innovated at the moment. Also, not with AI.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because
I mean,
AI tool for texting, you have an AI tool for emailing, you have an AI tool for and calling, but
right.
they are not integrated. You need free subscriptions instead of one,
Yeah.
and it's still the same AI at the back end.
Right. I mean, but I guess that's what happens when you have to figure something out. I think that's the whole point of innovation. So let me ask you this, as we wind down here, what's next? So last year we were looking forward to AI. Now you've developed this AI tech stack that's working really well. What's your mind thinking about next? Where are we headed?
I almost want to say to convince Trump that we are second.
Uh,
Those the things we, in heaven's sake, sell EVs because nobody wants them if they are not within big check from the government.
mm,
Uh,
yep.
the agency model is that. So how the egos with the OEMs are going to convince us that the agency contract they are going to sell us next year is actually a dealer contract, but just in the name an agency model.
Right.
So it will be a very good 2025 with a lot of things will happen. with Stellantis, with AC model, etc., with Volkswagen, which is in decline. It will be very interesting. I don't know what the next thing will be, but there will be a next thing for
There
sure.
will be a next thing, yeah, for sure. And I mean, and you more than any other can say many of these things confidently. First of all, I remember the first time I came there 9 years ago.
Uh-huh.
We were driving to a meeting at one of the OEMs. We passed a big Tesla
Yeah.
factory or assembly plant, and I remember looking out the window. They weren't quite as popular here yet. You saw them everywhere in the Netherlands. And I said, "Oh man, I want to drive those." And your response was, "Why, you want to be a taxi driver?" And I was so confused back then. And then I learned while I was there, because the government incentives to buy EVs was so high.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think Europe did the agency model tests first.
Yeah, in the small markets. So
Right.
like Austria, like the Netherlands. So
Yeah.
if it blew up here, nobody cares. Eh?
Right.
But you cannot do it in Germany or in France or in Spain or Italy because those markets are too big.
Right.
So they always try it in Sweden, in the Netherlands, in Austria, because there are small markets with dealers which can adjust very very fast, and it failed. It failed miserably.
The other thing, and this is a teaser, and we might have to talk about this the next time you're on, but we are just slowly, I feel like, becoming aware of a lot of the Chinese EV automakers. But there are, did you say there's 30 already in the market in?
Look, we have in Europe now way more than 30 new Chinese car brands.
Yeah, like, and we're not just talking BYD, because they're the ones that are starting to be talked about here, but Neo, we just saw Neo and 28 others.
Yeah, and we have Geely, and Geely has Lotus, has Lynk & Co, has Seeker, has Volvo, of course. Then we have BID, and we have MG, and we have a lot of brands which maybe one or two are going to make it happen, and all the other ones are getting an, an Subaru stack. Nobody wants them either.
Well, what shocked me, though, what I'm concerned about, what maybe keeps me awake at night a little bit, is when you had me sit in that Lincoln Co. SUV. I can't remember the price point on it, but I remember it being this about the same price, actually a little bit cheaper, even in euros.
Mhm.
It was a little bit cheaper than a Toyota Camry, actually way cheaper than a Toyota Camry, and 10 times as nice.
Yeah, the car is magnificent. The car which Lincoln Co. built, which is a Volvo engineered car,
Yeah.
manufactured in China, is a very good car with a 4-year warranty, 120,000 the kilometers and guarantee. The car is built very, very good.
And those vehicles are going to, if there's 30 of them moving around the European market, it's only a matter of time before those entrants are here. And I can't help but wonder, and this is a wormhole opening a wormhole here, but I can't help but wonder what the US or North American automakers will do when a $29,000 SUV that feels like a $70,000 SUV enters the market.
Yeah, but if I know American dealers, they will ask 10,000 euros more because they can.
Right.
It will be another price point. But on the other hand, I think that the European community has to tariff those cars more.
Yeah.
On the one thing, because the European car manufacturers as well having not a level playing field over there.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, tariffs. Now you're speaking our language.
no, but it should be the same. If they
Right.
are the same, if an American car company can do the same thing as a Chinese car company should be doing in America, then there's an 11 playing field. And
Right, right.
but the one thing the Chinese did, ask Volkswagen, ask everybody else to do a joint venture in China to sell a lot of cars. They make a lot of money over there, but they actually taught the Chinese how to build a car. And now they know it, and now they can do it on scale.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting.
That's,
Interesting times ahead.
yeah.
Interesting times ahead. And you know, the to bring it full circle, probably the scariest part of that whole equation is while all of that is happening, we're still going to be burning through leads, spending more money to get leads because we didn't install a proper process of what you figured out. How can those listening and watching connect with you and learn more about the processes that you've built?
The best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. Paul de Vries, 1972 is my LinkedIn handle. I think you pronounce it like that, and could connect me there. That's the best way. And if somebody's listening and as somebody knows, we actually need a very good speaker after Michael, so it has to be an A game for our event in April. And we don't know anybody yet which we want to invite. So if everybody knows a name, I'm happy.
Well, you're asking for it now because now everyone's gonna ask to come over. Very well. And you know what always intrigues me is the patience you have. What people don't know is that the way Paul got his LinkedIn handle, he went to LinkedIn, he clicked sign up, he typed in Paul de Vries, it was taken. So he typed in Paul de Vries 1 and it was taken, and 2 and 3. And he had to go all the way until he got to 1972. And that was available. And that's how he got it.
No, but it's the most common last name in Holland. So that's bad luck.
There you go. There was at least 1972 more others. All right. Paul, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you joining me on the Dealer Playbook podcast.
Really appreciate it. Have a good one, friend. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Dealer Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed tuning in, please subscribe, share, and hit that like button. You can also join us and the DPB community on social media. Check back next week for a new Dealer Playbook episode. Thanks so much for joining.